met this lovely lady who's Caribbean heritage, and she said to me, "Have you tasted rum?" And I was like, "No, I haven't." And
Oh yeah,
yes,
I knew.
that pretty sharpish.
yeah. So her family was like, "No, no, no, don't bring whiskey to these parties. You got to bring some rum." And so you know, I fell in love with rum as well, and you know, for me they're the two main spirits for me right now. And at the time we used to travel to Uganda, and rum is just not a thing in Uganda. People don't really know what it is, don't understand what it is. It's generally whiskey and gin, and you couldn't actually find any rum
No,
anywhere.
I found it so confusing because sugarcane plantations are plenty, and I just couldn't get rum in either Uganda or when we go to Kenya. So that's got us thinking, oh, that's interesting. Why is there no tradition around, sugarcane spirit making in the region? And actually, where does Africa figure in the world of fine spirits? So that was actually the impetus that really got us into the spirits world.
So the sugarcane that's grown out there, is that just purely for sugar, granulated caster sugar, as we would know over here? Is that it?
And the molasses would be used at that time for road surfacing and livestock feed. And I'm thinking, what about the rum?
Wow. So, okay.
That's changing now.
Yeah.
Starting to become a bit of a craft scene around sugarcane spirits. So.
Wow, that's just amazing. I love all this. I love little stories like that. I'll be honest, I'd heard of you before, but not in a big way. It was kind of this tiny little brand that kind of came on my radar sort of mid COVID, I'd say, end of 2020, early 2021. But I never really, you know, we say this all the time. Scotland's just kind of erupting with all these like rum distilleries or distilleries. You know, I don't know many rum producers up there that are not distilling. I can't think of any actually. Yeah, I think most of them are. But
it's big.
Yeah, and it's just an amazing set. I need to come up there one day. I need to come and do that.
Yeah, you do. There's a lovely scene in Scotland, and Scotland has a very deep rum heritage. We've been hosting a Scottish Rum Festival for a couple of years, and we really delved into Scotland's link to sugar and rum, and it's deep.
Yeah. So I've not tasted this yet. I've still not tasted
it. Taste now,
but I'm gonna taste it. But the one I'm just gonna pick up on what Trevor's point. People will note here. I'm gonna be honest. I'm not a whiskey fan, but it's not that I don't like whiskey. It's this smoky Islay stuff. I just cannot taste. Okay. I cannot handle Islay, and the big nose I'm getting off that is kind of that Islay malty, Islay sort of smoky and bit mezcal-y, to be fair.
Yeah,
but it's not putting me off, but it is overpowering the spices for me.
Well, it does on the nose. It won't on the palate. I promise.
Right. So, let's go.
Go for it. The spices own it, as well as the honey. Own the palate completely.
Oh, that's delicious. That's really light. What's that? 42? 42?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's the time we take to get the right proportion of the spices, the honey, and the time that we take to rest it just rounds it off really beautifully. We're trying to create a light sipping spiced rum, not something that's intensely spicy, but you're just getting murmurs of these spices and they kind of last.
So the front palate for me initially is not, I wouldn't say really sweet, but it's that honey that I get out front.
Yeah, you're going to get.
But as soon as it hits the tongue and goes in sort of back of the throat, that's when those spices really do come out. There's a dry. What have you? I'm getting sort of a dry, sort of cinnamony.
Yeah, that's
kind of like.
We present our spices. It's a Masala Chai mix, and again, we're linking to the Ugandan culture where there's a big Indian population, and the Masala Chai spice mix reigns supreme in the region. So it's tea, ginger, cardamom, clove, vanilla, and cinnamon.
That's it. That's amazing. That is really light. So again, for me, it's it's ginger ale. It's not kind of one of those rums that you would put with a spiced rum that you put with ginger beer or anything like that. I think the ginger beer would kill it, but the ginger ale, definitely those lighter mixes.
Yeah. I'll have a lovely long drink with ginger and a slice of lime over ice. Very nice.
Is that your tipple for this?
Yes.
Yeah.
That works. It does not work with Coca-Cola for us. We do have another spice product in our Live range, that loves Coca-Cola, but this just doesn't seem to work.
Mm.
So I'd stick with the ginger ale.
Yeah. What's your? I've got. They're in here. I know they are. So we'll do the cocktails and all that after you've gone. We'll chat about the rum. But is that kind of your signature serve then? The ginger and lime.
That's one of a number of serves, and if anyone's got the bottle on the back, there's a QR code.
Ooh, yeah.
And that will scan through to our website. And we've got lots of other cocktails.
Let's do that. Let's do that live.
Pressure.
There we go.
So we've got a version of a sling, made some lovely mojitos.
Oh. Oh, it's not going. This is dull TV.
Oh dear.
It's not working. It's dull TV. We'll ignore that.
Everybody else will work.
So when did you, as a sort of a brand, launch? I've read in there that it was like Rumfest 2015. Is that right?
Yeah, that was right, and that was October 2015, and it was us, Dark Matter, and another rum brand which no longer exists, and that was us representing UK craft rum as a complete curiosity. So many people coming up to us like, made in the United Kingdom, can it be any good? Quite a few will come at that time, and fast forward now, there's no issue. People are quite used to rums being made across the UK.
So are you full time in the business now?
Oh yes, yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay. So when did that sort of happen? Did that happen? Was like we've chatted to a few sort of brands over the last sort of few months or so. Was that because of like COVID? Was it like a great opportunity, or was it before that?
Oh no, this is pre-COVID. So originally we were making our rum in England under contract manufacturing while we held down our professional careers.
Go on. Do you want to say? Do you want to say? Was it? Can you say who it was? Was it Dr. John? Or if you don't want to answer, don't answer. That's fine.
Yeah, it was English.
Yeah, Dr. John.
So that's how we got started. And then 2017, we moved up to Scotland from London. Didn't know one person in Scotland, but Paul had secured a place on the brewing and distilling program at Heriot Watt. And that was it. We moved up with our little girls. They were aged 3 and 5 months old at the time.
Wow.
And the adventure started.
So hang on. Just go with that. We're not going to touch on Dr. John too much, but were you up near me, Cambridge, Dullingham?
That's correct.
Was that before the I've spent many a day with him, like making carrot brandy and all that sort of stuff.
Nice.
Farmers would just drop off random carrots and parsnips, and he'd just be making random stuff out of it. Brilliant, absolutely, yeah. But yeah, that's really cool. So I mean, I know plenty of other brands that will surprise a lot of people that I won't say that started off because of John or the English Spirit Distillery, we should say.
Yeah,
and they've just gone on to.
He was the only person, Dr. J was it. He was the only person making rum in England.
Yeah.
So that's how we got started, and but we wanted to have our own distillery ultimately.
So talk me through this whole distilling course thing. What's it called, Paul?
So it's Masters in Brewing and Distilling, MSc, Master of Science in Brewing and Distilling. So there's probably the only place you can do it is Heriot Watt here in Edinburgh. So we had to move up here basically so I could do this. I gathered a lot of technical knowledge over the years while we were in the business, sort of ad hoc, but sort of felt that before we took the dip into owning our own distillery, I needed to understand the science, and me having a scientific mind, I think I would have to know that because I'm a control freak and I want to know what's going on with what we're producing. I mean, it would have been easier for us to just go to Heriot Watt and say, look, do you have any graduates that can come and be our distiller? But I felt I needed to understand it. I needed to own the process and set it up the way we want to set it up. And then we can move on to growing the team and growing the business. So we both quit our jobs and moved up to Scotland in 2017. I started the course. It's a 1-year master's degree. You've got to have a scientific background in terms of your degree. Thankfully, I had one, not in the spirits, but yeah, it's largely science-based and it's intense. It's pretty incredible, but intense.
So I'm going to go off on a little tangent here now because I'm really fascinated by all this sort of stuff. So distilling a science, I completely and utterly get. How much of that then becomes down to your palate and blending? Because you could be an awesome distiller, but if you haven't got the palate to kind of, I mean, that's just something that is way beyond me. The palate, the people's skill sets to be able to blend rums together or blend, that's just mind blowing for me. So, did you have that sort of palate beforehand, or is that developed, or what?
He's had that palate.
I think everyone has a palate of some sort. I mean, but you can train it. So, the easiest way is to drink a wide range of spirits and get yourself acclimatized to different flavors, so you can actually detect certain things and be able to. There's a science to it. Believe me, there is a science to flavor. There is an actual flavor science. So, but it only goes so far. So,
I mean, it's even stuff like, so to talk about the spiced, it's even those things about getting the ratios. Like, I don't expect you to go into it, but I'm assuming there'll be, like, just for argument's sake, 10 grams of cinnamon and maybe 20 grams of ginger. It's finding those balance, that ratio that would be beyond most people. So don't say anyone could train themselves. That I don't believe that. That is a unique skill set. Otherwise, we'd all be doing it.
Paul's being very humble. In our house, Paul is head chef. Yeah. He's got a super palate. He's a super chef. And I personally believe that comes into play in Paul's spirit making. When he makes our family meals, I'd love to just show you our Sunday roast, which is waiting on a hot plate. Paul is not messing about. I mean, he is so passionate. Wow. He's into the flavors, and he's bringing all of that to his spirit making. So there's definitely a craftsmanship, right? Yeah.
So was it the spice thing for this? Is this the black tea, ginger, cloves, vanilla, cardamom, and cinnamon? Is that? Because excuse my ignorance, I'm really bad. I only heard about chai tea. I've only tasted a chai tea like twice in my life. I'd only really heard about it. Is that spice blend authentic chai, or have you added maybe one or two things into it, or?
Yeah, there's kind of a spectrum, isn't there, for chai? Because we played around with some others that could have featured in.
Yeah. I mean, it's about what we were looking at is if we're going to make a spiced rum, and it ties back to East Africa, where I'm from. The question is, what spices do we use? Now, in Uganda, it's largely cinnamon and ginger. So our teas are generally, if you go to every country in East Africa, Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, Tanzania, and go to a bar or a restaurant and ask for traditional tea, that will be a masala tea. It will be spiced with some sort of spice. Now, in Uganda, it's largely cinnamon and ginger. In Kenya, it's pretty much all of the above that are in the recipe blend. They use everything. At the Swahili coast, it's largely very vanilla and clove forward. Tanzania, again, down the Swahili coast, very vanilla and clove. As you go more inland, you're looking at cardamom and all kinds of other spices coming into the blend. So it's doing that research, asking questions of friends and people I know from these places, and putting together a blend of spices that represent East Africa, and then finding the right balance with the kind of rum or base spirit that we're using to sort of make those come through to create a delicious spiced rum.
Amuse me. How many attempts did it take you to get that? Go on. don't give me any rubbish about first time.
A lot. Let's just put it that way. There are some interesting experiments that are still in a bottle somewhere and will never be touched ever again.
I was going to say, if you kept them sort of to plot your journey or to keep track of your journey.
We should have kept them.
I've got some at the distillery because what we did is obviously when we were working with Dr. J, we had to come up with a spice blend. So in the kitchen with some of his spirit, I was pretty much trying to figure out the ratios, send them to him. He finessed them and started to produce our spiced rum. When we set up our own distillery, because our rum is different to Dr. J's, we then had to go through that process again. So I've got those latest samples as well as many more that shall not be mentioned and will be forgotten, shoved in the back of the cupboard. But don't.
You've got special when you get big and famous. You've got like batch. You can make thousands off some of that. You know, like little 5 centilitres of batch 2 or batch 3 or something. Genius.
Developing that.
Yeah, I mean, we've got demijohns, about 4 to 5. Someone's asking the batch size, about 4 to 5 liter demijohns of experimental batches that we did.
Wow.
So,
yeah, that's clear. Yeah, awesome. That's amazing. There was a question. Well, the still. Like, what sort of still have you got up there?
Oh, we're in between worlds, aren't we?
Yeah. So similar to Dr. J. So literally, we got Dr. J stills because we were trying to get as close to the style to the distillate that he creates, the weight of distillate. I was aware it would be impossible to copy it, but the best in terms of getting the weight of spirit right would be to use the same stills. So we've got 200 liter alembic stills.
Yep.
And so we had 4 of them. So we have 2 wash and 2 spirits. So basically 2 process the fermented wash and 2 process the spirit run. So we do 3 distillations. We triple distill. So we've got basically 2 wash stills, 1 intermediate, and 1 final spirit still, basically.
Wow. So how much are you producing a week then, or a month, or whatever? Just.
So
I mean, I know it depends on sales volumes, but.
In terms of distillate or actual bottled product?
Bottle. These guys and me will kind of relate that in bottles.
Well, our annual capacity.
So our annual capacity is about 12,000 bottles.
Wow. That's not bad.
But we have just taken delivery of some new kit.
Ooh, hello.
Very, very exciting.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What, new still?
New everything. So a whole new distillery.
Wow.
So we're basically getting rid of the old stills, all 4 of them. 2 have already been decommissioned. So we're now operating with 2. In the meantime, while we get this new setup commissioned, so we're going to go from about 12,000 bottles a year to circa 90,000 bottles a year. So,
okay.
As you can imagine, I'm losing a lot of hair over this.
Wow, so. I mean, dating back to sort of 2015. All right, where are we? 7 years ago. So this has been quite sort of plotting and kind of that. And I know you said 2017 you moved up there, but are you, as a business, in like what needs to happen between now selling roughly 12,000 bottles to even upping that to 50,000, let alone hitting that? You know, where are you as a business in all this, and what are the big plans and dreams and kind of what's next?
Yeah, I guess we've been limited by our capacity. I mean, if you go onto our website, you quite often see Matugga Golden pre-order because we just cannot keep up. We're so sorry, everybody.
And that's because you're resting it, aging it for a year or what? What was that? How long was that? Sorry,
about a year.
About a year. I think that's what a lot of people don't comprehend. To get a gold rum or to get it a 1 or 2 year old rum, you've got to flip it age it.
Yeah, so
some people don't come on to that.
There's some unprecedented demand right now. Plus, we export to France. So we're struggling on our current distillery setup. But now, once it's all plumbed in and ready to go, we can now go beyond. So
the demand is already there. You've just got to meet that demand. It's not like you've got to market yourselves and sell more. The demand is physically there for that sort of product.
Yeah.
Wow.
The demand for aged rum is incredible. It's actually incredible. We literally cannot keep up. As soon as we empty a few casks for the golden rum, because it's taken maybe 3 or 4 months since the last batch, the demand is already there and it's gone in less than 2 weeks. We just emptied 3 casks, I think, 2 weeks ago or a week before last, and most of it went to France. The rest is going to the UK. It's gone.
That's absolutely amazing. Honestly, that is absolutely amazing. I love this. There's a couple of questions popping up here. This is obviously in the know, and I haven't got a clue about this. What's this? I'll put this on screen. The killer. Where's it gone?
Oh, the killer poo. Oh,
I
hi,
have no
Ian.
idea what that is, but there we go. What's that?
Yeah, we use a lot of Swahili. So on the back of the bottle, you see Pole Pole and Dio Morendo, which means slowly, slowly. That's the language of East Africa. So Kilabu means club in Swahili. So
Right.
we're rum heads. We love to experiment. Some people may be aware that we do some very wacky releases. We've done Acacia, which was beautiful, Sultan and Cognac. So we want to keep that going. And we are launching a rum club for those who love our kind of atypical approach, and we'll be releasing some very, very unique expressions for our rum club community.
Oh my God, I need to get involved in this. I'm so excited about this. I just get, there's a few, we've got a few down here. I'm going to say in England, I'll probably be in the UK, but down here in England, we've got a few guys doing it properly. But I just get so excited about like people like Kit. I follow Kit quite closely, Kit Crow and all that. And but you guys, I don't know why you guys have just not been on my radar, but you've just completely blown my little mind of what's going on. I'm like so excited. And we've got a guy that's just joined, and I will give him a shout out. Geraint. He's we love him, but he's our sort of rum geek, but absolutely loves sugarcane juice rums, agricoles essentially. So for you to kind of, he missed what you said earlier, but for you to kind of go down the lines of in the future producing sugarcane juice rums from African sugar, your own African sugarcane, just shows what is happening in the UK, well, Scotland, but in the UK it's immense, unbelievable.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's only going one way. I mean, I'm so, like I said, last year's Scottish Rum Fest and the year before, I just get so excited about the scene up here in Scotland because people are setting up distilleries and are doing it properly and right, and people are sort of very quality focused, innovation focused, and for me, it's just exciting. We started with 10 brands at the first Scottish Rum Festival, 2019.
Oh gosh, during COVID, wasn't it? And then the following year we had 20 brands. So yeah, the scene is really thriving up here.
Wow. Is that what you were doing this weekend? Was that the one?
Oh no, we're at the Edinburgh Cocktail Week for anybody that's in town.
Sorry. Wow.
Yeah.
That's we'll have to I do Manchester's as far north as I get, but we'll have to come up and do the Scottish one because I mean I know it's a long trek for you guys. I think someone asked if you're coming down to Rumfest in London next weekend, and I'm assuming that's no. Is it?
Edinburgh Cocktail Week is just dominating, but it will be present on the Craft Rum Club stand.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah, we'll do a bit with that down there. That's amazing. So, yeah, but I just mean for us to come and sort of get a lot of these Scottish rums. I think we had 3. So Kit was there at the rum show in June or July, the Whiskey Exchange one, and I forget who was on the opposite.
You
just
had
dead opposite him.
From Isla, and then you had Colin from J Gal,
and what's the other one?
And Ross from Sugar House.
Sugar House, that's it. And that's really it. But when you deep dive into Scottish rums, there is so many of you doing it properly. Really dumb, stupid question. But obviously, with all you guys popping up and distilling, the Scottish people themselves are really demanding. There's a huge market, I'm assuming, in Scotland for homegrown rums. Correct? Dumb question.
Well, just homegrown, locally produced. The brand Scotland is very, very powerful. So anything that's got products of Scotland, made in Scotland, has huge appeal. Wow. So, and to add to that, one thing that we've been looking at as a collective is how we kind of protect authentic Scottish rum. So that if you put in Scottish rum on the bottle, on the label, it better be made from scratch.
I like that. Oh, this is new as well.
Yeah, it's something that we've all talked about it passionately. Kit as well, and Ross has kind of led, trying to actually form a collective. But we wanted to get in at the early stage to try and put some guardrails and protection around the Scottish rum craft. Before it gets too hectic and out of control.
Yeah, because you guarantee you're going to get a few gin distillers popping up because the arse has fallen out of gin, and we know we have a lot. we joke about them all the time, but
As long as they do it right and they do it to a good standard. I mean, I have no issue with it. But what we want is for Scottish rum to be protected. We don't want the reputation to be sullied. We don't want people to start thinking, oh well, that there's some good stuff, but there's also some stuff we're not quite sure of. We want it to be clear and clear communications. So we have formed an association. There's an association of Scottish rum producers that's already formed, and it's voluntary.
Wow.
Those that join have to sign up to certain requirements. One of them, obviously, the key one being that it's actually made in Scotland. It can't be, imported Caribbean rum that's rebadged as Scottish rum. That's just doesn't make sense. So
wow.
yeah.
Wow. Couple of quick questions before I let you go. I could seriously chat to you guys all night. I'll chat to you because I do something different, but I'll chat to you in a bit in the future. Pam's up in Scotland. Pam wants to say that's Morgans and Coke. She wants to know when the Scottish Rum Fest is. She can only see 2021.
We're hoping to bring it back next year. We've had a bit of a fallow year. We've all been very busy.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and we've not had a live Scottish Rum Festival. It's all been virtual.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're ready
we'll
to
have
have a live event. You've heard it here first.
Yeah, we'll have a road trip up there. Definitely.
Oh,
So, where are you? Where are you close to? Like Scotland or Edinburgh? Where would it be?
We're in between Edinburgh and Glasgow.
Yeah,
we're a little bit closer to Edinburgh.
Right. Okay. Yeah, we'll have a road trip up there for 2023, definitely. And look, before I let you go, because we'll have to get genuinely, I could have you on here for another hour just chatting about this and all this sort of stuff. What else would you like to say to people about your rums, or what is there anything we've not touched on? I know it's been quick and short and sharp, but about where you're going or about the rums, what people can get from you.
Yeah, people may not be aware that we've actually got 2 rum collections. So we've got Matugga, which is cask aged, and then we've got Liv, which we launched in the pandemic, which is LIV.
Go on, hold it right up to the camera. Go on, closer. Bring it closer. There we go. Right, okay, awesome.
So we launched Liv in the pandemic, and we're having a lot of fun with the brand. It's allowing us to be very playful. We've got we launched Scotland's first overproof white rum in that collection, and there's many more now, but I think that was the first. Which is sitting at 57.5%. Proudly makes an amazing rum punch.
Oh my
Spiced
God!
rum flavored rums. There's lots to come from that. That's available in the co-op up in Scotland. So
wow,
yeah, we're quite busy. We're a house of rum, the full spectrum of rum styles.
Amazing. Look, I'll follow you up. I'll definitely chat to you guys a bit more because I'd like to do a bit more with you on another Sunday. That would be amazing for this lot. But thank you so much. I think there's someone said it earlier, and I don't know who said it. Right, when the comments go quiet on my live stream, it's not. And I've fallen into this trap before. It's not because no one's watching or no one's listening. It's because everyone's flipping listening and everyone's engaged. And I kind of think, people think it's a bit boring. It's not. It's because people have just been genuinely engaged with what you're saying. So I think this has gone down the storm. I really do. It's a cracking rum.
Favourite serves. So we did Ian Burrell's Matugga Apple Berry, which is very nice. That's in the Craft Rum Club magazine.
Yeah. I'm going to do all these after Sebastian's been on, so we'll do that. That's that. Yeah.
It's a very simple serve. Please, everybody, Matugga spice with a little bit of chocolate truffle. Taste the chocolate truffle and then chase it over with the rum. So good.
I'm going to do that now, actually.
Instead of your sticky toffee pudding, perhaps. Try it.
Nice.
It's going to be the end of the show. He's going to end the show after this.
Oh! The ginger ale's going everywhere.
And isn't that good, Steve?
Oh,
come on.
I'm in love.
Yeah, very simple.
They're so good truffles as well. I've had these before. They're amazing truffles.
Beautiful.
Guys, genuinely, thank you so much. I'll definitely speak to you through the week, and we'll do some. But this is amazing. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy. It's lunch.
Cheers.
Sláinte. Oh, what's your... Hang on. Native, what's a Ugandan cheers?
Cheers.
Oh, okay. On that note. Brilliant. All right, guys, I'll let you go and I'll get Sebastian on and we'll do the other one. Thank you very, very much. That's been awesome. Cheers. Right, let's do this. Isn't it amazing? Go on then. Now we can crack on. Now we can have some fun and games. So,
sorry at first,
Ron,
that little mess. Yeah, maybe.
So take us back to the start then. Go on.
Where I started this was like 10 years ago. So it was in 2012, but I was born and raised in a small family distillery in the Black Forest. So I'm originally coming from more the cherry spirit part of this world, not that kind of sugarcane. And I studied winemaking in the first instance, and then just returned home and told my dad, I'll not join the business. And he was like, what? And I was just getting a little bit crazy about that Panama Rum. And I said, okay, I got that idea with the Panama Rum. Would you support me? And he was like, I think you should do what we are able to do and what we are good at. And I was like, Okay, so it took me, some of the guys might know that story because I've been already to London sometimes for tastings and all this kind of stuff. And it took me 3 years to plan everything, to get everything running and moving. And in 2015, so like the other two, I started the first bottlings.
Wow.
So now at the moment, to get that link in between Panama and Germany, when I started, I wasn't able to build up a distillery. So I needed to find a partner. I partnered with Varela in Panama and brought the first container over, but all in whole barrels. So no classical bulk shipment in containers or anything, but a whole 40 feet container with the barrels inside. So
wow.
Yeah, at the moment, what you're holding in your hand is a single cask, and I'm still doing most of the stuff as single casks. And when I started, what I wanted to do was adding nothing. So just developing a kind of style of rum made from a molasses basis, but not being sugared at all. So not adding any sugar, just doing it by aging. And what you got is a pretty dry expression of my rums because it's aged in a dry red wine cask, so even more powerful. But that's a little bit how it went. And the guy you see on the label, I was already told sometimes you need to replace that by something funnier and with more color and everything. And I'm like, that's not marketing. That's a drawing of my great grandfather. So I might not remove that.
So hang on. Right. So let's just cover some very quick basics here. Why Panama rum?
When I started, I was looking to source from some distilleries, and I just asked for samples. So when I started that, I was like, in German we say green behind the ears, so knowing nothing. And I was like just looking for samples and everything, still studying winemaking, and I just was into rum. And I was so, let's say, being a bit weird, being aged in Black Forest with this kind of spirits that are normally natural. So no added sugar, nothing changed, only aged by nature, all this kind of stuff. And then you try a lot of rums and the glass is sticky. And I was like, that was so strange to me that I said, I want to have that kind of flavor profile of a molasses rum, but not having any sugar in it. That's more or less how it started. When the idea was born, I thought about buying like 2 to 5 casks. That was like doing a little brand and start this. My dream would have been to start straight away with a small distillery, but that was at that point, to be honest, impossible. And just to make that a little bit clearer, last year, 2021, yes, last year I bought 3,000 square meters in Panama next to the Baru volcano. So it's up at approximately 1,500 meters.
Wow.
Just a small plot, but that was by chance because a friend there called me and said, okay, there's a guy who wants to sell a little plot and he'll give it to you at the price you normally pay as a Panamanian, so not prices asked from strangers or anybody from abroad, and that's how I get into that. And now I'm just looking for a distillery equipment, and yeah.
So,
but that's
so at the moment, then your business, your rums, essentially are they all shipped from Panama to Germany and aged in Germany?
yes.
Right. So they're all so for this, for example, where are we for this? So this is a 10-year-old rum. Has this been aged for 10 years in Germany?
Oh no.
No.
For that, you need to know that when I started that with the first shipment, I also took in some 5-year-old casks, and I realized pretty soon that the gap already in between 5 and 7 or 5 and 8 years, aging in Europe or aging in Panama, no way to get the same result. No way.
Wow.
So all that stuff, the youngest stuff I'm using at the moment is 7 years old. So 7 years aged in Panama, and like this one plus 3 years finishing. So it's no classical finish where a lot of people say it's between 6 months and 12 months or something like that. It's a little bit, let's say, stranger. So I really try to influence and change the product or the rum only by aging. So if I give you a sample of this rum arriving to my warehouse and then what's coming out at the end just by aging, it's like 2 different worlds. And what I really think, because I want to say that I respect and love the idea the other 2 said before, because also what Renegade is doing and what's now coming up is exactly what I think is the future. Because sugarcane, there are like 3,000 different types, more or less. So I think sugarcane is the wine in spirits. Don't know if that's well explained, but if you're talking about wine and you're talking about terroir, so it's really, you can smell and taste where it's grown. I think you can do the same with rum and with sugarcane. If you do it properly, it was just not done, or not that kind of way, or not in that kind of amount. So there were the agricole with a high quality and that kind of style, but not in that wide range. So I think that will be, I see it as the future of rum a little bit.
So talk us to that. I mean, that's amazing. I'm inquisitive now about the whole Panamanian rum. How would, say, a rum from Panama be different? Because I know it's sort of wrong going forward, but a lot of us, we still chat about this English style versus Spanish style of rums. I know that's kind of lost a little bit, but how would, say, a Panama rum differ from, I don't know what's close by down there? Guyana's not too far away. What else have we got? Nicaragua is just there. How are they different? Is it the terroir or?
Up to now, it's more the way of fermentation. So also the kind of style of fermentation and distillation process. So it depends a lot on how long you give the fermentation, and also which kind of yeast you're using. And afterwards, because they are still using columns, what I just bought is a pot still. So what I want to do is a heavier style, explaining better the kind of flavor profile that you get from your field. And what's done at the moment is like distilling, but depending a lot on which kind of alcohol level you also go with your spirit. So you can go in a column still, you can go up to 94 if you want, but then it doesn't taste like sugarcane anymore. So it's like a vodka.
Is in Panama, is Scott, this would be my naivety, is there a lot of sugarcane grown in Panama?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow.
I think at the moment like 32,000 hectares, if I'm not wrong. So
wow, that's quite a lot.
yeah.
Wow. So because I mean, in the UK, I mean, where does a lot of your rum get sold? Because I know in Germany there's a huge rum market in Germany, but in the UK, it's coming. It really is. But Panamanian rum isn't that big. I can't think of.
The good thing for me about Panamanian rum, and also at the same time the bad thing.
That's the only one really. I know there's a couple of others, but that's the only other brand I can really think of.
Let's say the problem is from Panama, and especially also from Colón, from that big port area. that big harbor, you're getting tons of bulk. So Panamanian rum, to many rum lovers, it's like, whoa, no way, I don't touch it. If you bring them a Panamanian rum, they're like, there's sugar added, aroma, don't keep that away from me.
Yeah.
It's not saying spiced, but at the end it is. That's what they think. So in my opinion, it's like, let's say what they said about Scotland, what's going on there, the same is happening a little bit in Panama. So minds are changing, there are new producers. Cask shouldn't run away by itself. So that's what I always say. So when
So for some, and I won't say brands or distilleries, but when you have a finish, I'm not even going to say the brand, I'm not even going to say the type of finish, but when you have a finish that's very kind of forward in that style, is that because the cask is really wet? Save you to filled the Amarone cask within, I don't know, say 2 or 3 hours of it becoming empty. Would it take on more flavour, too much flavour?
No. It's more the problem if you leave it for too long time, you lose that kind of clear flavor profile. You get off flavors, you get all that kind of stuff. But problem mainly is a lot of people buy it from different sources. So normally you don't buy the cask straight away from the producer, but you get it, for example, from cooperage. And then you cannot guarantee the time it was empty. So when I talked to the guys, for example, in Panama, and I just thought about buying a little warehouse there or something, it was pretty fast that I realized the kind of style I'm doing now, I'll not be able to produce there. Because if I try to get the cask from Europe, shipped there, I just need to change the idea a little bit. I need to buy the wine casks in Latin America.
Yeah.
If I source them there, I can use them. If not, I have to bring them fully loaded to Panama, empty them there and refill them. So that's a bit that kind of tricky thing, because now at the moment I'm aging around 500 casks here in the Black Forest. And I thought about like selling this stock bit by bit, bottling it, selling, and not refill the German warehouse anymore. But after a certain time, I just realized there's no way to get the same kind of style. So I was like, I'll always be in between that discussion that people say, but you need to age it in the Caribbean for all the time. You need to age it in, I don't know. But I cannot put myself in that discussion and say, yes, I think that's correct. I think the first aging needs to be done there, because you don't get the kind of concentration. You don't get the same flavor profile. But if you want to do that kind of finish, like you're holding in your hand, you need to do it here.
Magic. I'm just going to touch on one thing. Big G, Geraint. Yes, this is special for the Craft Rum Club, and it's a single cask, and it's an Amarone cask finish. That's what you're tasting it. So, and then he's just bumped in straight away, and I think this will be a question we'll get. I think it's Kevin coming on. I'm going to sort of touch on how we got to this with Donna and Kevin, but I just want to touch a bit about on. So what was your first, like, did you go down the traditional kind of bourbon or whiskey kind of age cask first, or was it wine? Is that your thing, wine casks?
The first aging is, when I get the cask, it's always ex-bourbon barrel.
Yeah.
So first part of the aging process is always in ex-bourbon barrels. But the first casks and finishes I did were always wine casks.
Right. Okay. That's what I thought. I thought there was something here. So you've always done, this is your big point of difference. You finish off rum, Panamanian rum, in wine casks, all different kinds of wine. See, right. This is, wow. So what's the weirdest, well, it's probably not even weird, but what's the weirdest cask you've ever finished? Like for me, Amarone, I've never ever had. I don't think I've ever had a red wine finished rum, to be fair. But Amarone is out there. So what other weird ones have you done?
Let's say the weirdest flavor I really had with Oloroso sherry. So I did just the Oloroso sherry cask and didn't buy one of those seasoned casks like holding sherry for 2 years. but I had a old sherry butt from one friend down in Sanlúcar, who sold me a 30-year-old Oloroso cask, and that was so incredibly alive. So that was almost green outside. So it was like lying in that bodega for 30 years, taking all the bacteria, everything that's happening there. And I tested it inside, I smelled it, inside was perfect. So I put the rum in, took it out after 2 years, tasting it, and it was so weird because the flavor profile, I still got samples, was like ranging from nutty flavors to really microbiological crazy flavors, and everything in between was like, that was pretty crazy.
Wow.
And it was always, when I started that, it was all single cask, and I just tried to keep that and was really into that. And the first time something different happened was also for the UK, because I sent a sample and they called me and they were like, we need 700 bottles. And I was like, I don't got any cask holding 700 bottles. So I really need to do a batch. So I just try some batches, resend you samples, and you can try it again. That was the first batch I ever did. And now I do a ruby cask, which is like one of the top sellers. And it's always, people are also asking me, why are you doing ruby cask aged 8 years? I think we're getting more rid of this kind of discussion because people start to realize if it's properly aged, you don't need 12 years of aging. And if it's mainly aged in the Caribbean, neither you do need such a long range of aging. After 7 years, the rum is already really, really good. I see the questions. There were some people asking for the Amarone, and just
so what I wanted to do before you touch on this, Kevin, if you are, sorry, I've just been chatting to Donna. Kevin, if you're ready to come on, because I think this is a conversation for both of you of how it got to the Amarone cask. So if Kevin's there, I can't see his face at the moment, but Kevin, come on. Basically, let's just give him I don't know. Oh, what's that? He's fine. No video. Right. Okay. So he's there. The signal's dodgy. So, Kevin, can you hear us? Can people hear you? Say something, Kev. Kevin.
He just wrote in the chat, I think.
Yeah. So, Kevin, your screen, or Donna, whoever that is, your screen is on. But I've not got there. That's okay. Right. So basically, let's just, if he pops up on screen, he can come on screen. So basically, let's just do this quick. So basically, Donna and Kevin came to you and had this whole discussion about we want to do our own cask for the Craft Rum Club. Yeah. Right. So then, how did that conversation progress? How did they come to Amarone?
That was more because they were looking for something special. And I think I once sent them a box with different samples. And when they told me, and then Kevin and Donna called me or just wrote me, and they were like, we love Amarone, we want that for the Craft Rum Club box. And I was like, okay, that kind of bottle is sold in Europe for 70 euros a bottle.
Wow. Because I think that's what people are getting at. There's a few people that obviously know what Amarone is and how expensive it is as a wine, and they've kind of, wow, this should be quite an expensive sort of rum. So you had this aging anyway. You've had this cask. So where was the Amarone? Do you know the provenance of the wine? Yeah. What was the wine that was in it?
The guy who's producing the wine is Pietro Zardini. So he's a really small producer I know for years. Yeah. And I told him I really want some Amarone cask, and he gave me cask of his Amarone Reserva. And I told him I really want them fresh, recently emptied. And he said, okay, I'll empty them in January. Just come and pick them up or send somebody to pick them up. And I just took the Mercedes Sprinter, that kind of little van, and just went down, because from my place, it's just going through Switzerland, 3 hours driving in Italy, picking up the casks, and then going back through Austria. just to get 2 of those casks. So
wow, insane. so okay, so I mean, right, let's have a little taste of this. I tell you what, all I can really smell on the nose while it's been sat there, I really do get those red wine vibes on the nose. It's so there.
I get quite a lot of this kind of plum, so pretty concentrated fruit.
Yeah, definitely.
But also you get quite woody notes, in my opinion. So what you always see with our rum is that it's statically aged. So we're not doing any kind of Solera or something. So you'll never find any Artesano. If you taste like one and you say, okay, the wood expression is way too high for me, or don't like that kind of wood, it will be tough to find one Artesano which has less. You can take the younger ones, never go for the older ones. People are often like at trade shows or something, they're like, the 10-year-old's way a little bit too powerful for me, just give me the 23-year-old. I'm like, better don't do that. This stuff is aged 20 years in Panama and 3 years with me, so
wow. Is that your typical? Sorry, we've probably already said this, but is that your typical finishing time? 3 years, or if you don't, I think you said 5, didn't you? Like, what's the longest you?
The longest is 5 years right now.
Right.
But let's say it depends a lot because I don't got any bottling planning. My bottling planning, I cannot tell you why I'm bottling within the next 2 weeks. That sounds like I don't got any idea of what I'm doing, but I'm not that kind of drunken guy just doing it to get cheaper rum. It's just because I bottle and decide all the bottlings by tasting. So
right, okay.
There were some shops already like calling me and told me you cannot do that because they ask for bottling, and when the cask supposed to be ready, like for Christmas sales, for example, some stuff like that going on in the trade, I tasted it and was like, I'll not bottle it. And they were like, we need it. I said, you'll not need that because it's not the kind of quality I want to send you. So we just need to find another cask. I'll resend you samples, but I'll not bottle that cask if I'm not sure that I would buy it or that I would like it. So all the bottling, because I don't do any kind of filtration, any kind of additives. So there's no joker. I cannot do anything if it's gone wrong or if it's not already mature. So that's what I always say. I decide by tasting. And when it's getting to bottling and I think the cask is not ready, I wouldn't bottle it.
This is such a crazy rum. It's so light. It's a really light for me. It's got to be column still, surely. Yeah? No? Is it column still rum?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, column still rum. So it's really light. You get. I'm not even going to delve into the sort of tasting notes, but you get the rum up front. But the finish, it's like this jammy, plummy, cherry, kind of juicy finish. It's so bizarre. It's like the finish. You almost forget you're drinking rum.
Yeah, the thing is, that's also why I decided to take this kind of raw material, this kind of rum, as basis, this kind of Panamanian rum, because it really accepts the finish. If you take like a profile of rum, which is really heavy, really powerful, that's also, I already can say that, I'm a little bit afraid of using in the near future those pot still rums and still thinking about which kind of style we should produce to keep the finishes on that kind of level. That's a little bit the difficulty.
Right, let's do. So, for those of you that don't know, this is Kevin from the Craft Rum Club, Donna's worst half. Kevin, just say something so we can hear you.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yeah, okay? Perfect.
Right,
so that's cool. I think we're all right. I think we guys can hear you. So, right, let's take this conversation in a different direction. When did you two first meet, and how did this all come about from a Craft Rum Club point of view?
I think that's already 4 or 5 years ago. Really the first time.
Yeah. Kevin, can you hear us, Kevin? Kevin's just drinking. He don't care.
I can hear you. Yeah, I'm getting delay and feedback. I'm not quite sure. It's a
No.
bit- unlike
Oh. All right.
Can you hear
Okay.
me? Okay?
Yeah, we can hear you. I'm just not sure how fast your speed is. Where are you?
It's a little bit what happened to me before.
Yeah. All right. No, I can't hear you. I'll take you off, Kevin. I can't hear you, mate.
Can you hear me now? Or,
You're literally about 15, 20 seconds delayed from the time you speak and by the time the volume comes up.
A bit strange. Okay. And I'll...
Yeah, no, it's all right. Right, let's do that. Let's take that back. So the rum itself, Sebastian, the rum itself, I'm kind of getting these sort of chocolatey, like the first sip is kind of this chocolatey, nutty kind of vibe.
Mm.
Very luxurious. Maybe, I don't know what else they're getting there. Maybe a touch of honey. I don't know if that's right. Definitely chocolate. But the finish is just this really, as I say, plummy, jammy, cherry thing. It's like bonkers. Absolutely crazy. Mad. Like, what do you... So, come on. What do you get off this, Sebastian? Like, give us your tasting notes of this. As the wine connoisseur, you're going to come out with loads of stuff here. Come on.
I'm doing 45 lines of tasting notes. So first thing you really smell, the nose is quite equilibrated. So it's pretty clear, all the flavors. You get that kind of plummy flavor. You get fresh cut wood. So you really see that that there's something with a little bit of woody notes and a little bit of power coming. You really
gorgeous.
get quite a lot of red fruits.
Yeah.
You even get some blueberry, but just little hints. I even get some vanilla, but not that kind of, that artificial vanilla aroma added, just like a really, really small hint.
Guys, try to. Kevin, oh, he's gone again now. Go on, keep going.
And what I get on the palate is more not that kind of cacao, but more that kind of milk chocolate. So it's a pretty creamy flavor. And you don't get like starting on your palate. It seems like it starts and you're thinking like, okay, that's pretty easy drinking, smooth. And then it's going wider on your tongue and it's opening up. And there is even some walnut. So some this kind of nutty walnut flavor. And then if you swallow it, it first shows power and then closes down. Like it's like showing the wood, but then doesn't go on that kind of bitter, woody notes. More like still being creamy. I would call it easy drinking, but I'm used to that kind of dry stuff.
There's definitely nothing. What's the word I'm going to use? Nothing feisty in here. There's no spice. There's no wood burn. There's no. Hang on. Let's try this again. Let's get him on. Right. Take 3. Kevin.
Are we on?
That's even worse. Sort your bloody. I can't. Go on.
Really? Oh, wow. Okay.
Oh no, you're right. You're right. You're just a bit. You're just a bit delayed.
But, I'm here. And, happy days.
No.
I'm not.
No, you're massively delayed, mate. Massively. I think that's shocking. Yeah. It's like you say something and then your mouth is going and then 15 seconds later the voice comes out.
Well,
he's on the run. I tell you, we'll get Donna and Kevin another time. Kevin, dive into the comments. That'll be easier. That'll do. Right, let's do that. So I don't know who. Right, you guys at home. Who's got a bottle of this? I can see a few of you piping up now. Lee Gannon, Ganimal he's got creamy. Anthony Elliott, this is my first Craft Rum Club box. Like it with the highball recipe. What was the highball recipe? Where's the highball? See, for me, this is kind of... oh, is this the lime tonic? Hang on. Yes, it's that one. The lime tonic. I might crack one. See, would you... Right, with the... I'm being funny, but that for me is like a lovely sipping rum, Sebastian.
Yeah.
It's not... It's... I get why people would mix it, but I don't want to mix it, if you know what I mean. I kind of...
The funny thing is always when I produced the first stuff, I always said, okay, it's not that kind of mixing style. It's way too, let's say the aroma is way too clear. It's not that powerful in a cocktail. It doesn't give that kind of power to the cocktail that might be needed, or to the long drink, whatever you use it for. And what I'm doing now, but it's not on official sale, because I don't filter them. I got in with each cask. I just keep it in an open stainless steel for a few days, and just to have the sediments going down. And then I take it from the top, just with a little hose, bit by bit, like liter by liter, just for not needing to filter it at all. So you might have, in some cases, you might have some little cloudy things inside, but not that strong.
So hang on, you would take the rum out of the Amarone cask. I'm not saying this one in particular, but you take the rum out of the cask and you put it into a stainless steel tank for
a few days, sometimes even for 10 days, depending on the settling process. So I like to settle all the sediments, don't do any filtration. And I didn't want to waste that rum that is left inside. So I started to put that in empty casks. One person asked before if I reuse the casks. I don't. So if I use that Amarone cask, I just sell it to other blenders, to distilleries in the Black Forest, using it for their kind of German whiskey, whatever they want to put in. But I don't use it a second time. And I just kept some casks to put in that like rest of not being filtered. And I got one friend who has a bar here, running a bar. And one day he was with me in the warehouse just tasting stuff. And he was like, you told me this, because I told him this story. You told me this story, but what are you doing with all the rum? And I was like, I'm putting it in those casks. And they're just getting fuller and fuller and don't know what to do with it. It was like, yeah, but you might filter that. And I prefer using that instead of any industrial rum for my cocktails. So he just kicked out all the basic rums from his bar and just using that rum to do all the mixes. So
I like that.
You can imagine this rum, because sometimes I have to add stuff which is 15 years old, sometimes 5 liter of a 10-year-old, 9-year-old. So the flavor is never the same. So it's like a living cask. So it's always changing, but he loves it.
Mad. So I think that's Kevin in the comments there, but we've heard of infinity bottles before, but so you've got an infinity cask going on. That's genius.
Yeah, but that was more. I was like well, I lose with every cask like 5 to 10 liters, and I was like, I don't want to lose that because it's way too expensive, and it's not worth just to spoil it.
So
and then this asked me,
So let's go to your business here, because I'm really intrigued now by the sort of the wines and stuff. So, if you got a specific style or type of wine that you inherently go for, like how many flipping rums have you got at a go? You said 50 casks.
No, at the moment I got 500 casks aging.
500. Sorry.
Of the
slightly out.
Of the 500, they're like 150 at the moment. I changed that a little bit. I sourced before, to say that, for completing the whole stuff. I sourced before from another winery, red wine Amarone casks, but not the kind of quality I imagined that I would get. And I was trying to do an 8-year-old with that just by 1 year finishing, and it didn't come out how I did it. Wow. So I just got rid of those casks bit by bit. I just sold them to a bigger bottler. here in Germany, and he just made his blends with this stuff. And now I'm like, in the whole warehouse, approximately 100 to 150 casks, more or less, is all ruby port to do my basic quality.
Wow. So, okay, here's another question, because this will be for your palate and stuff. Assuming that a lot of the rum you buy from Panama it's going to vary. Even like 2, 7, 8-year-old rums, they're going to vary in taste, aren't they?
Yeah.
They are. So how much of it is you tasting the rum and then thinking, I want this cask to go with it? Or do you kind of have the idea of the cask first, and then what's that process? Like, how do you pick the rum for the specific cask?
The process is like the casks are coming, or let's say the rum in the barrels is arriving before the wine casks.
Right.
So if I want to do a racking, I first get the Panama rum over from Panama, fully loaded container, and I just put in the warehouse, upright, standing, the original bourbon barrels. And then I'm looking for good casks. It's not that I say I need now 10 Amarone casks. It's more like, do I get at that point 10 good casks? Doesn't matter if it's white wine, red wine, whatever. Only important thing to me is that they're recently emptied, fresh, holding before a good quality and all this kind of stuff. And if I get them in, then I start to try which cask would match in that wine cask. For example, if you got a really nice, like a sweet white wine, you couldn't match with that a bourbon barrel, which was too powerful. If you put it in such a red wine cask, the red wine cask or the Amarone flavor plays with that kind of strength. But if you put, for example, that kind of strength or power into that white wine, it just eats it up and it's gone. So you don't get any of the white wine flavor anymore. That's at least my opinion and what I experienced. So
have you? I guess you have. Have you aged with white wine casks?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. And wow. So, because in my head, I'm not. I don't know why. I'm thinking obviously sherry, like Oloroso sherry and Fino sherry and that kind of stuff. Yeah. But in my head, I'm not. I don't automatically think white wine cask with rum. So,
yeah, but
I don't know why.
I laid down some years ago. I laid down a really sweet white wine cask, and this is getting pretty interesting now. At the beginning, it was so like tasting like, how's it called in English, raisins. So pretty sweet on the nose, not on the palate, but on the nose, and was a little bit too much. And I just left it for some more time, and now it's getting pretty interesting. Maybe I bottle it for Christmas, but I'm still not sure. As I said before, I don't got any bottling lists, so I just got tasting lists.
So how long has that one been aging for, or resting for, or finishing? Sorry.
I think it's now in there for 4 years, maybe. So already pretty long time.
That's crazy. This is a whole different science of rum blending, because it is blending essentially. I know, well, aging, blending, whatever you want to call it, but it's a whole different science to distilling. Crazy.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I don't got at the moment I don't got that option to change the fermentation, to change distillation process. So I needed to find my way through that at the beginning. So I knew what I get is always the same raw material, more or less. Yeah. So being aged already, as you said, the cask vary in taste and everything, in development, how they matured. But I hadn't that chance of changing the flavor profile. One person already, Henry, I think.
Henry, yeah. Henry's our German friend. Henry's in Germany near you. And
I'm still, when I got that chance to buy that plot, I told it to my father, and he was like, what's next? And I just said, okay, if I want to do it properly, the way I think it should be done, maybe the story is not told by me, but sometimes, how do you say, you have to plant the trees, how's it said, in which shadow you'll never sit. That's something I really think about often, because I think maybe not me is telling the story in 10 years. That's all done by me. But maybe somebody else after me can say that, you know what I mean? So I really want to do that kind of way and just get it done. That's why I'm getting over to Panama this time, not for sourcing rum, but this time it's for some appointments regarding technique, pressure of gas, and all this kind of stuff that needs to be.
So okay, let's just do a couple of things here. You've got the plot of land. You're doing the distillery. When roughly, we don't want an exact date, but when roughly do you think you will start to distill? Are we talking 2023?
Planning is, let's say, what I want to do is always do a little bit the way that Martinique, for example, is doing regarding just distilling during the harvest period.
Right.
So I would need to be ready at the end of January to get started by next year. If I want to do it next year, I would love to do that. But regarding paperwork and all this kind of stuff, it just took me, what is it now? Like almost 10 months to open up the bank account for the company in Panama. Just for paperwork. And I was like, yeah, it's not money laundry. I'm really doing a business there. And then if you say that, then they start to ask for your permission to do that business in the country and all this kind of stuff.
So would you, because again, I know this is a business. And so in my head, and correct me here, but I'm thinking that you would probably keep on your warehouse in Germany for quite a few years yet, because I'm guessing when you start to distill, you're not going to release a 1-year-old rum or a 2-year-old rum. No. So the whole process from you distilling to you're going to be aging. Where are you in your head? A 3 or 5-year-old? Where?
Let's say maybe 5, just to give it a try. So I think, let's say, planning is maybe like saying, okay, next year, maybe a little run, just some testing, fermentation, all this kind of stuff, but not really laying down cask in an amount which makes sense. So I think really laying down cask should start the year after. So 2024 in January, I hope so.
Wow.
If it starts earlier, I'm happy. If it starts later, I wouldn't appreciate that. So planning is really to get it done before.
Wow. So we will be looking at, where are we now? 2028, 2030 maybe. By the time we get some of your home distilled rum aged in that. God, that's a business plan and a half, isn't it?
It's a little bit, let's say it's all a little bit crazy. But it's like always, if you did one thing and you thought it's impossible, I think the next step is not that tough. It's like you said, all my friends, when I started that, told me you're incredibly insane. That doesn't make any sense. Starting to age Panama rum in the Black Forest and all this kind of stuff. And let's say that changed pretty much over the last few years.
Yeah.
But that also led to the fact that I'm not that afraid anymore of that kind of thing. So,
yeah, there's a question. I think this is what Karen's pointed out. I did say it from Katie. So I don't know how often you come to the UK, but there's Katie. I'm going to put this on screen now. Katie and Dan own Stratford Sodas. They're developing mixers for rum. So Stratford Sodas. Have you ever looked at pressure aging with wine infused wood? And that's from Hubby.
No.
I don't know what that means. Oh, sorry. Let's put that back on screen. I'm assuming that means like wood staves. Do you know you kind of get wood staves in. I don't think you'd need to do that because I think you're aging properly, aren't you? I know, like Takamaka, for instance. Takamaka use, I think they call them staves, but whatever they call them out in the Seychelles, they're using staves to kind of impart flavour from the barrel without it aging for 4 years. Basically, what they're doing is they're recreating a 3-year-old rum in 3 weeks. That's basically what they're doing with that.
There are some techniques now also in United States. There's a big company doing that. There's a patent pending from Switzerland focusing on fast aging. So I think if it's meant like that, also because if you use staves, the surface of the wood is way higher than in the cask, because in the cask it's just surrounded by the wood. If you use staves or even smaller parts, you get a higher surface in contact with the liquid. So you get a faster aging process, but it's even tougher to control it. But I think, let's say for basic spirits, basic aged stuff, like you need a rum which is aged 3 to 5 years to do a basic stuff. I think the future might look like that you use this kind of, but that's not the way I want to do it. But I think if you also see that the wood amount which is needed right now for cask is that high, that we might think about just going for the lower qualities, maybe a little bit away from true cask aging, just my opinion. But that's another discussion, because I think regarding that kind of discussion about sustainability and all this, if you want to do big quantities, it might have sense in the future to use that kind of techniques, even on a higher level, and even allowing it to be used. For example, maybe I don't want to touch anything which is holy or something, but maybe use it to bourbon whiskey or blended stuff and all this kind of things, which got a certain amount of aging period, and you might get it down a little bit by that kind of techniques.
Wow. That's all. Right, I've just realised what the time is. Look, I know it's really late where you are, so just one quick question before I let you go. For me, this Amarone cask is, I don't know, weird, wacky. It's out there, right? What other casks may you be releasing soon that are along the lines of not normal? I don't know how else to describe it. Like what have you got coming up? give us some highlights. Give us your top five high hopefuls that you've got.
What I'm still bottling, or what I need to bottle, is a beer cask.
Oh,
I was just one beer cask. I used a tiny one just for testing how it develops. But that was more kind of, I think that will be sold in the Black Forest area, just for having so many beer drinkers in the area.
I was just going to say, the Muses, that has to be German beer as well. Yeah. You're not going to buy an English beer? Yeah, right. Okay, so German beer cask. Wow.
And the next thing is I got a Priorat cask, which is like a really, really strong red wine from Catalonia in Spain.
What's that called? Sorry?
Priorat.
Priorat. Okay.
So, Priorato. It's like also really, really strong red wine, which needs to be bottled. Next cask is also, if it's ready now, the white wine. And I just tried one thing where I'll bottle a little bottling, like maybe 150 bottles, because I tried an aging in an don't know how to call it, amphora. So in that kind of which is not wood, I just put it 10 years in a barrel, and now another 1.5 years just in an amphora, which is like what the old Romans used to put the wine in.
Oh, I see. Yes, I know what you mean. Yes.
Just to show the people what's happening, because it's just giving it oxygen, so it's changing, it's getting really smooth, but it's not the same as a cask aging. So that was just a testing, because I wanted to try it, and just got that amphora from Italy and tried it now, what's happening, but I think I'll not put that. Yeah.
Wow. So how many, very quickly then, how many, ballpark, I know it's going to depend, but how many rums do you release a year, roughly?
Let's say I try to keep the list of offered rums for trade at around 10 different expressions. So I got like Ruby Port, Tawny Port, and American Virgin Oak, like the basics, which I always try to have something bottled. And at the same time, I'm trying to have 7 different expressions available. So that's more or less what I'm trying to do.
Wow. So quite wow. There's quite a lot.
So
look, go on.
Let's say if one cask is sold out, I'm bottling the next one, but it might not be the same kind of style. So I try to keep it like in a certain level of age statements and all this kind of stuff. I try not to bottle at the same time like 5 different expressions with a 15 years old or 10 years. I try to keep that a little bit stable, but the rest is fully open to aging process. So,
wow. Hey, look, I'm gonna let you go, Sebastian. Thank you very much. This is a phenomenal rum, and I actually cannot wait to taste some other finishes of yours, because that for me is 100% red wine on the aftertaste. That whole sort of jammy, plummy, chocolatey, it's absolutely gorgeous. I know there's a lot of love coming in the comments there previously from there. Thank you so much for giving up your Sunday night. I know it's like 11:15 where you are now, so I'm sorry. But honestly, thank you for coming on, mate. Thank you. If there's any questions come up in my community, I'll get in touch with you through the week and stuff. But I'll say thank you anyway tomorrow.
Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much, my friend.
Cheers.
You take care. Toodaloo. Bye-bye. Right, take that off. Let my ears reacclimatized. For those of you that have not... Oh, there we go. Ears in there. For those of you still here, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to do another sort of 45 minutes. I'm going to do another some of these rum highballs, these rum cocktails that we've got going on there. This, for those of you that have not got this rum, this is absolutely delicious. It's so... I haven't seen Scott in the comments for obvious reasons. I think Scott might be packing and getting away. But Scott, if you're watching or listening in the background or whatever, I think this is totally up your street, this kind of rum. It's instantly column still rum on there. It's so light. It's just crazy how that sort of... You know, it really does take on the characteristics of that red wine. So 3 years that's been in there. I don't think I missed many comments, but if I did miss any questions or anything like that, come back to me. But what I'm going to do, as this is the Craft Rum Club, I am going to do a few of these highballs that are in the magazine this month, and there was a couple here. I will taste this because I've never tasted the tonic. So this is in the fridge. I need to get some ice out the fridge. Right, that's that. And there's another way. We've also got to do Katie and Dan Stratford sodas as well. That's what I'm looking for. That's cold. Right. Boom, boom, boom. Ice, ice, ice. Right. Yeah, that's the one. Right. Need some ice cubes. Right, I am back. Let's put the ice down. So, the first one. See, I'm kind of loath to do this. I mean, it's going to taste crazy, but I think we're going to kind of waste the rum a little bit on this. Is this one? Hopefully that'll be on screen first. That one there. So it's essentially, how can I describe it? It's essentially a Collins. It's rum, the lime tonic, sugar syrup, and lime juice. I've got some lime juice here somewhere. I'll tell you what. Let's crack one of these. I've never cracked one of these. Let's do this. Let's do this. Right, I can never open these, he says. There we go. Right, let's just do a little bit of lime juice, a little bit of rum. Boop. Should really measure that. There we go. Little bit of rum, a little bit of these sugars. I really want to do the strawberry sugar syrup as well. We'll open this one. Is that Jeff? So this is what comes in the Craft Rum Club in the boxes. It's not Jeff. It's Sun. What's it called? Sunita. But anyway, a tiny bit of sugar syrup, not too much. Perfect. Right, and then topped up with this lime. So this is Amalfi Lime Tonic. Again, I've never had that. We know the brand quite well. Well, I first heard of the brand last year. But they were part of the Bartender Brand Awards that I judged, like January time this year. So, but not had the lime tonic. Ooh, that's quite tasty. It's not a tonic. Million miles away from being a tonic, which is great because I don't want that bitter quinine sort of thing. That is a really delicate, effervescent lime soda water. That's what that is. It's not a tonic water. I wish brands... I know they do it for gin. I get that. I get they put the word tonic on there purely for branding, purely for marketing. But I wish they'd kind of get away from putting tonic on the bottle because that is not a tonic. Right. Let's be honest. People kind of think, oh, it's tonic water. I don't want to put that with rum. People would not buy that to put with rum, but actually, I can imagine this being quite tasty. Right. So let's do that. The old bar spoon. Right. There we go. So this is, what's this called? The Artesano Highball is that one there. Although Ian's done it with like a sugar rim and little rocks glass. I mean, that's absolutely delicious. It's rum. It's a delicious highball. Do I get the red wine finish out of the highball? No. It's a delicious highball. That it's kind of that. I mean, this is really good. You could easily do that exact same thing with a different rum and get virtually identical sort of taste. So, for me, I think that is kind of a neat sipping rum. I get a lot of people aren't into neat sipping. I 100% get that and understand that. But I think this rum, to get the best out of it, is maybe even like a rum fashioned, an old fashioned, or whatever you want to call it. But a tiny bit of sugar, maybe a bit of bitters. But you've really just got to let the rum do the work. So that's that. I want to do the Matugga one as well, the other highball. I'm just going to analog distortion. Hello, I've seen a few comments coming in here. I'm going to Macho Lime, blah blah blah. I learned so much from this channel and the others. Thank you, Macho Lime. Macho Lime. Analog distortion. Been making some amazing cocktails on the fly, guessing what might work. Brilliant. Right, the Matugga Spiced Rum one. I kind of want this. This is a delicious. I'm so. Do you know what? I'm two completely and utterly different producers. Is that the right word? Brands, rum brands. Let's call that tonight. Completely and utterly different, but so fascinating for both of them. Really, really fascinating. I can't wait to deep dive a bit more with these guys. That was just phenomenal earlier on in there. Just proves what I'm saying, right? And I've done a few videos about this. Probably, I don't know, 3-4 months ago now was the last one that came out. But yes, I've lost interest in a lot of spiced rums, but purely because no one, these brands, some of these brands are not doing it properly. When you get someone like that absolutely does it properly from scratch, even to the point they are planting and growing their own sugarcane field over in Uganda for the future, that just blows my little mind. Whether it's spiced rum, normal rum, I don't care. I love that. That really tastes nice. It's very light. It's not a sweet in your face spiced rum. So for those of you that like Red Leg, for those of you who like, I don't know, Dead Man's Fingers or whatever, this isn't for you. It really isn't. This is rum forward with that tiny little bit of spice, honey up front. You get the sweetness up front, but it just very quickly disappears into those kind of little spices at the back there. So do not think you are getting a sweet spiced rum with this. Okay, it's really not. So let's go for this. How did they say it? I said it wrong. I call it Matugga, but I don't think that's how you say it properly. I forget. I need an ice cube that fits. Right, there we go. So a bit of Matugga. How does she say it? I've said her name wrong as well. Jacine, Matugga. Right, I'm just going to call it Matugga. Right, apple juice, a bit of lime. Right, let's do the squeeze of lime. The strawberry syrup. What's this taste like? From Witch Kings. Ooh, that's quite fresh. Bloody hell. That's insane. That just tastes like liquid strawberries. That's really good. Subtle. That's really nice, actually. Right. I'm just doing a little bit of that. Not too much. Perfect. Oh, I like that. That's a great little... that. And then the apple juice, isn't it? Yeah. Oh, no. Folkington's apple juice is Pago, surely. Yeah, Pago. Folkington's apple juice. Right. So, I think I might have just killed the rum in this, but we shall see. So strawberry, what's this called? The Matugga Appleberry. That's what this is called. That one there. So essentially, apple juice, the spiced rum, strawberry syrup, bit of lime juice. Again, it's another tasty highball. My ratio, should have measured. My ratios are slightly off for this. Doesn't quite work for me, that one. Let's go down a different route. Let's go down a different route. And I will measure this just for my own curiosity. Right, 15 of that. And so, all right, let's just do it. I just want to taste it with the apple juice. Just on its own. Right. There. I'm not overly convinced that goes with apple juice, to be fair. That for me, sorry, Ian. I don't think that goes with apple juice at all. There's a funny, I think it's the tea. There's a funny kind of aftertaste that's just not sitting well with me with the apple juice. Right, I need to explore. I need to explore with this. I'm not going to be beaten. I don't know what other cocktails I can do with this because of the cream. But I'm going to do Katie and Dan. I'm going to do the Stratford soda test in a minute. Right, I can't do for those of you who got the magazine, I can't do either of those two because there's cream and red wine in those. I can't do that and that. Well, I can do that. That's a passion fruit mojito. The mint's missing off the old description, but there's mint in there. Ginger. I want to nail this as a mixer. The Matugga Sling. I might do the Matugga Sling in the end. I've got my peach liqueur ready to go down there. Matugga. Do you know what? I think this is in the after dinner. See, that I have to say that with that little truffle was absolutely amazing. Right, let's put that to one side because I think we can do something here. Right, I love this lime tonic. Absolutely adore this lime tonic. Lime soda water. That is amazing lime soda water. I really, really like that. That for me, it's got potential to be a great mixer for rum. I just need to get rid of the tonic water. No self-respecting rum fan is going to put the link together between tonic and rum. I know brands come on and say it all the time, rum and tonic, rum and tonic. I don't think many home consumers automatically think tonic with rum. And I think that's the thing. Lime soda, lime whatever, fine. I just don't think many people will kind of put tonic with rum in that sort of sense. The actual mixer itself is amazing. I really like that. Right, ginger. Let's clear the decks. Bit of plantain crisps. Like these. Right. Before I have another accident. Rightio. So, what we're going to do, you know what the time is. You know what the time is. Oh, wrong patch. Yeah. Woohoo! See, I've nailed it. Look, with the timing. There we go. Right. There we go. There we go. Right. So, I'm going to be honest. I don't think there's any point trying this with that. That for me, neat sipper, rum fashioned, maybe a quirky sort of daiquiri. I just purely my own personal opinions, I think you're wasting that if you mix that. That tastes absolutely delicious, how the rum should be. If you mix that with anything, even that is delicious. It really is nice. But I could put Plantation OD in there, let's be honest. I mean, it's delicious. It's absolutely delicious. Right. So, we are going for this. I'm going to do the old Matugga. Is that on the screen? I've lowered the camera this week. Right, there we go. See, right, Katie. Oh, no, wrong end. Oh, flipping Nora. Oh, this is the game each week, isn't it? Right, there we go. Right. Katie and Dan, I'm going to teach you how to label bottles. It's funny banter, isn't it? It's funny bants each week. Right. So, let's crack onto this. We are going for the old Matugga. Pop. Am I missing any questions? I've been ignoring the comments. Try with soda and lime and Coke. Both went down. We'll try with this syrup. Right, colour on that. Cherry cocktail last month was gorgeous. Just trying an old bottle of DMF with pineapple and Peychaud's. Ooh, pineapple and Peychaud's. Right, strap for the clock. I have a basket load of What's this? Basket load of tonics from various boxes. Yeah. Elizabeth, this is what I mean. This is why I wish brands would just ditch the tonic water, because 99 out of 100 are not tonic waters. And I'd be amazed if this actually has quinine in it at all. Sparkling water, cane sugar, acid, citric acid, natural flavours including lime, bergamot, lemon verbena, rosemary and quinine. Rubbish. You can't taste it. You can absolutely not taste quinine in that. They put tonic on the bottle because they think they're going to get sales from gin. Ditch the tonic. Ditch it. Just put, I don't know, just call it lime soda or something, because it's amazing. Don't use the word tonic. It's stupid. Katie, the stickers are there. But not on those two. Right. So, rant over. Right. Let's go for this. I'm going to do this. So, hang on. I've only got one rum. What's going on this week? I've normally got 20 glasses to do. This is going to be short and sweet, isn't it? Right. So, Matugga with... Which should we go first? My least likely to work. Go on. There we go. My least likely to work is the hedgerow in my head. Oh, no, actually, I'm going tropical in my head. This is least likely to work for me, tropical. Let's just give it a little upend, not a little shake. I don't want to get soaking wet. Right. Are we ready? Oh, see, that's why I like them. Low fizz. Low carbonation. Right. So, what did I do? I'm going to measure. I'm going to be good. The perfect barman ratio. There we go. Right. So, that's front. See? Okay. There we go. Right. Don't they legally have to put quinine on it to be called tonic? We found some weird clause in the EU definition when we started out. So tonic, I don't know the intricate details, but quinine can only be used in 0.005 grams or 5%, one of the two. I think that's the rule, because quinine is actually poisonous. Any more than that, it's going to hurt you. It's going to harm you. So I think the most forward, or the brand that uses the most quinine, is actually Fever Tree. But again, you are talking minimal marginal amounts these days, because quinine, you can't use it. So, but this is the point, right? A lot of, and this is case in point for this, right? And this Artisan, I'm really, really sorry if you're watching. This is not a hate on you. I love the flavour. But the point is, this will be a quinine flavouring, not quinine itself. And the point is, you can't taste the flipping quinine. You genuinely can't taste the quinine. Not only is it not got any bitterness to it, you can't taste the quinine. Just ditch the word tonic. Just get rid of it. We don't care about it. We don't, stop trying to get sales from gin lovers. We don't care about the word tonic. Let's just come and use the word mixer or like Double Dutch. Double Dutch have used the word mixer on most of theirs. Genius. Get rid of the fact that it's tonic. We don't care. There you go, Artesano. Barman feedback. Right. So my least hopeful is the tropical with this. I'm assuming the tropical pineapple and coconut are not going to play nicely with the spices in here. I might be wrong. We shall see. I'm wrong. That's actually quite delicious. That's actually really, really nice. It's 10 times better than that apple juice. 10 times better than that apple juice. The aftertaste, the tea, is the tea that comes through. Maybe a bit of cardamom actually as well. It's the tea and the cardamom that sort of play really well with the pineapple and coconut. I wasn't expecting that actually. That's delicious. Elizabeth, hedgerow may taste good, I think. Herbal fruit. Okay. So, okay. I was thinking, where's my... No. I was thinking this might be bad, but actually I might have to revisit this. This is the old... let's give it a shake. You can tell this is not just a load of E numbers put together. It's actually got bits in it, innit? You've got to shake. Right. I don't know. Who thought of using real fruit? Right. So. Hedgerow. Oh, yes. Nailed. Right. Yeah. I'm gonna add another 10 ml. Yeah, I'm not loving that. There's something clashing there for me, personally. Yeah, tropical beating that so far. It's interesting, isn't it? It's fascinating. Right. Yeah. It was a little clash. It's passable. I would score that. So that I'm giving like actually a 7.5 out of 10. That was really tasty. That like 4 out of 10 is like, do I have to drink it? Right. So here we go. I think the ginger is going to be the best for this. So I'm going to do the ginger last. I'm going citrus next. Citrus. I don't know why. Let's start with that first. Oh, that's delicious. Oh, that's good. I might have completely blown the order here. That's nice. Oh, I don't know which I prefer. I think that's an 8 or a 9. Oh, I don't know. That's really tasty, actually. Sign me up for more than that. You don't lose the spices. What you do probably lose is the tea, but you get that nice, subtle spice background, if you know what I mean. It's interesting. You get the tea off those two. I don't get the tea off that. And I do like tea, but actually for a drink, that for me at the moment, right? Let's change out the ice cube. There we go. New ice cubes, please. It's like Wimbledon, isn't it? New tennis balls. New balls, please. I've got to get a slightly smaller ice cube tray. There we go. Perfect. Right. So, this is the one I was thinking would be the better one out of the 4. I don't know whether I've got that right or wrong, to be fair. This is the spiced. I think we're up to like 16 drinks now. Okay, I've not said ginger once. Oh, we've just eyeballed that, haven't we? Taxi. Right, cinnamon and ginger. So it's not ginger, it's spiced. Cinnamon and ginger. So in my head, I'm thinking this is the winner. Oh, God damn, that's good. Oh, that's good. Oh. Yeah, that's good. I don't know whether Mummy Barman's watching or not. I'm surprised she's not been in here to taste these. But I'm interested. If Mummy Barman, if you're watching, come in here and I'm going to line all 4 of these up with these 4 mixes and I want you to give your opinion live. If you're watching, you'll be watching like Strictly Dancing or whatever the hell it's called. I'm assuming someone will be on. She won't be watching this. She'll be asleep, passed out in bed, knowing her. Right. Now, this is the interesting thing. As an all-round drink, the spiced is my favourite. Do I get the spices from the Matugga? Matugga. How did Jacine say that? Matugga? No, she didn't say Matugga. Matugga? I don't know how she said it. It wasn't how I was saying it. Anyway, I don't get the spices, the subtle flavours from that, but that is a very, very nice drink. That is my favourite drink. I get the spices from definitely those 2. I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10, an 8 out of 10, 7.5, although that's really, really nice as well, and 4. I didn't like that at all. Right, I accidentally defrosted. Oh, what's this? I like the words accidentally. Hang on, let me scroll back through some comments here. Maybe the tank for the berries, not as tart flavour. Might need to be a Scotty pour in the hedgerow. A Scotty pour. Let's do a Scotty pour. How much sugar syrup? Like equal amounts of sugar syrup to rum? Like what is the Scotty pour? I don't know. Let's just do a Scotty pour. So let me use these. Oh, I didn't actually taste the Witch King's sugar syrup, actually, to be fair. Yeah, decent. Just sugar syrup. The strawberries, absolutely gorgeous. Right. This is Scotty pour. I'm going 5 ml. 5 ml of sugar syrup. We'll start off with 5. Right, and then let's see if we can bring that home. Right. So we've got 5 ml of sugar syrup so far. No, absolutely not. Right. Let's add another 5. Oh, too much. There we go. Right. So we're up to 10 ml. Perfect. That's the Scotty pour. See, that completely transforms the drink, actually. I really like that now. Do I get the spices? Do I get the tea? I'm not convinced I'm not convinced I get the full benefits of the spiced rum with that. Delicious drink. 10 ml of sugar syrup. So basically done 15 ml, 25 ml. So it's not even like a I don't know. How would you describe it? Basically 15 ml, 25 ml, 10 ml of sugar syrup. Absolutely delicious. I don't get the spices. I think that hedgerow, is the one that kind of masks the flavours in there, the berries in there, kind of mask the spiced rum. Delicious drink. I mean, really delicious. Weirdly, I get strawberry now. Weirdly, it's kind of reminded me of that sugar syrup. Yeah, delicious drink. Right.